Okay, good afternoon, Year 13. Hello, welcome. This is a little video for those of you who are thinking about possibly taking a gap year, or you might have an interest in it. And so I wanted to put a little bit of advice for you and a little sense of guidance, perhaps, to give you a few thoughts and pointers. Okay, so let me share this screen. All right, and I'll talk over this. So recently, on the progression questionnaire that you completed last week, it was indicated that there's 46 at the moment, 46 people within year 13 who are considering a gap year or don't know what they would like to do after A levels. Okay, so this is kind of the audience I'm talking to. But if you're watching this and you weren't one of those 46, then that is absolutely fine, and this might be an interesting thing for you as well. Okay, so general advice to start with. Okay, so advice for gap years. First of all, it could be that you are considering taking a gap year because this was planned. Okay, part of your long-term intentions have always been to take a gap year because it works for you and it's going to work out in terms of your intentions. Or it might be that you're taking a gap year because you don't know what to do. Okay, and that's absolutely fine. First of all, I think to state the obvious, but it's absolutely fine if you don't know what you want to do with your life. And this is quite difficult at the moment because you might have friends who have a real sense of purpose and a real sense of direction in that they've found a degree course or they've found an apprenticeship that they know they want to apply to and they know they want to go and do. It's quite hard if you don't know what you want to do yet, but please let me reassure you that that is absolutely fine and there are no worries about this. Okay, importantly, you don't have to make a decision now. Okay, the only option really which is time sensitive is UCAS with a deadline of 15th of January, but even then, if it's beyond the 15th of January, all options will be available for you. So UCAS, you can still apply to UCAS in April, for example, or May. The circumstances about applying are slightly different, but you can still apply. Apprenticeships will still be an option. So degree apprenticeships may be an option, but it might be for next year. So essentially, and an important point here is that it's okay if you're not sure what you want to do at this stage. You don't have to make a decision now, and all options will still be available for you. Okay, and it may well be, in my third bullet point here, again talking about the obvious, but the circumstances currently around COVID make this a significantly more daunting thought than before. Okay, a lot of us have been through a lot during lockdown, and actually thoughts around progression and what you want to do with your life may have been daunting, and you've just shelved those thoughts at the moment and just focused on the here and now and looking after yourself and others and just making sure that you're okay with schoolwork, and therefore these thoughts haven't yet occurred to you, and they may well do over the next 6 months. All right, so this is the big picture. General advice then, if you are thinking about taking a gap year, okay, 4 points that I'm going to talk through is, first of all, have a plan and a purpose. So if you're going to take a year of your life, you need to know what you want to do with it, and we would like to know what you want to do with it. Okay, now this isn't going to be set in stone, it's not a contract or anything, okay, but you need to have an idea about what your intentions will be for 12 months of your life. Okay, second point, do something memorable. Okay, you'll never get this chance again, you'll never get a chance to take a gap year. And do something memorable, do something you will look back on and you will talk about positively and will really have a positive impact on you and what you would like to go and do in the future. Okay. Thirdly, be better for it, be upskilled. So be a more qualified person than you were at the start. Be a more skilled person than you were at the start. Have more knowledge than you did at the start. Okay. If you're going to take a year of your life, make sure you've got something at the end of it to show that you are better. Okay, and number 4, have an idea about what you'd like to do after your gap year. It's important that you have an awareness of your options and what you might like to go on and do. Okay, and this also helps to kind of compartmentalize this as a gap year rather than just, I don't know what to do with myself, because a gap year could become a gap 2 years, a gap 3 years, and then there's risk there that actually this gap year kind of just rolls over, and before you know it, you're mid-20s and you've forgotten to think about the big picture. Okay, so here are 4 bits of advice that we're going to talk through. Okay, so first of all, having a plan and a purpose for your year. So you can, and I would, first of all, I'm looking into Unifrog, okay, and sorry, and I'm erring here because I was signed in and Unifrog's kicked me out, so let me just sign in again. Okay, so all right, so you can look at Unifrog, okay, and there are lots and lots of resources on Unifrog there to guide you, not just about universities or apprenticeships, but I'm particularly interested here in the know-how library. Okay, so if you go to the know-how library and if you type in gap year, if you search, okay, then there are a couple of resources here which are quite interesting. All right, 5 tips for taking a gap year there, and then weighing up whether to defer about, if you're thinking about that, if you're thinking about university application, and whether to apply now and defer your entry, or whether you apply in a year's time. Okay, so deferring your entry is telling a university that although I'm applying now, I'm not coming in 2021, but I'm going to be arriving in 2022. Okay, so there's a couple of videos on there to start with, all right, and they're quite a nice little start point if you're thinking of a gap year. Okay. Secondly, if you are thinking of an apprenticeship, okay, have an awareness of where apprenticeships are advertised, first of all, and what apprenticeships are available. So this is the .gov.uk website. This is kind of the national hub for apprenticeship opportunities. And this is definitely a place where you will want to set up an account. Okay, so you want to create an account, make that account yours, and then you will be on their mailing list and you will just be able to see the kind of opportunities that are coming up, because apprenticeships will come and go. Okay, there's not a fixed window like there is for UCAS, and what you don't want to happen is for an opportunity to pass you by because you weren't aware of it, or you weren't ready for it. So having an awareness of the apprenticeships which are out there and will be coming up is really good, and it's possible that some apprenticeships will work on like an annual cycle. So if you see good apprenticeships advertised in April this year, then they might well be advertised in April 2022 as well. Okay, and that might be something that you want to make a note of, and you look at an application form from last year and you make sure that you are ready with a strong application. Okay, in terms of help and advice, obviously while you're at school, then we are here and we'll offer you all the support, help and advice that we can. Okay, outside of school, then I would highly recommend the Connections service. Okay, Connections are based in North Tyneside. There's a phone number there and an email address, and they offer information, advice and guidance and support for 13 to 19-year-olds. Okay, so if you have left Whitley Bay High School and you're in your gap year and then you're after some advice, then Connections is the place for that. Okay, and I would highly recommend what they can do. And at the moment they're offering lots of phone service. Okay, and hopefully when things are back to a level of normality, then you will be able to meet face to face and they'll be able to offer you advice. Okay, so this is all so far been about having a plan and a purpose. Okay, so being aware of what your gap year could be, what you could do in it, having a plan for it, and being aware, and number 4, have an idea about what you'd like to do after your gap year. Okay, I am as well just gonna quick mention on UCAS. Okay, put this in sequence there. Okay, so in terms of UCAS as well, you should be watching this having already watched the UCAS advice video as well. Okay, but UCAS, it may well be that you take a gap year and you are applying for UCAS after that gap year. UCAS, if you would like to go to university, if you know that you'd like to go to university, you've got 2 options. One is that you apply now and you defer your entry. Okay, that means, as I just mentioned before, that you would like to apply now and you are not going to go in 2021, but you will be arriving in 2022. Okay, or you can apply next year during your gap year, which is a little bit harder to do because you don't have the immediate on-hand support as you do at school, but it is very much possible. Okay, and there are your options. If you choose to apply to university, your application will need a reference, we will still write your reference for you if you are on a gap year. It just needs you to email us or give us a call quite early in the academic year, and then we can arrange that for you. Okay, all right. So far we're talking very much about big picture and have an idea about a plan and what you might like to do after your gap year. Okay, be better for it. Okay, there is no reason why in your gap year you can't keep learning. And if you can keep learning, if you can keep engaged with it, if you keep your brain ticking over, then you will absolutely be putting yourself in a good position for going and rejoining learning, if it's higher education or apprenticeship or degree apprenticeships in the future. Okay, Future Learn, I would highly recommend. There are many online courses here which take a few hours for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks across a huge diverse range of subjects. Okay, create an account, register, have a look, and you might complete one of these a month, for example. And it's just good to keep your brain engaged with a new topic and to keep yourself active mentally with an element of learning. Okay, would recommend that, that's for sure. Okay, and then so that's the kind of be better for it and be upskilled. And last but not least, okay, number 2, do something memorable. Okay, there are many opportunities and programs around gap year and travel, volunteering, humanitarian work, you name it. Okay, this is just a simple gap year programs Google search. Okay, but get some inspiration. There's a huge amount, okay, of options there in terms of gaining advice, inspiration here. Okay, things may well be slightly different for you currently given travel, okay, and restrictions on travel. We can all cross our fingers that that won't be an issue next summer, okay, and next year in 2021 and 2022, okay, but do just be mindful, of course, of restrictions on and around travel at the moment, and there will be fantastic gap year opportunities, and it might be that actually you plan to join one of these programs perhaps, which involves fundraising and then an experience, or it might be that actually part of your gap year plan is to work and gain employment, work, for example, at Sainsbury's for 40 hours a week, and then save up some money and then book some flights and go and see part of the world with a friend or a couple of friends or by yourself. Okay, all of those are options for you, and all of those will certainly help to make your gap year memorable. So hopefully, as I now start to draw this to a close a little bit, my key points that I wanted to make in this video were: 1, first of all, it's okay if you don't know what to do with your life at the moment. It's great if a gap year is part of your long-term intentions, but if you don't know what you need to do, you don't have to make a decision now, but you do need an awareness. You need an awareness of the bigger picture. And if you are thinking gap year, then COVID circumstances make this more daunting in terms of what you might be planning to do in your gap year, but also just the big picture at the moment. It's fine if you're thinking about gap year, you don't know what to do, because there's more pressures on some of us currently than there would have been in any other scenario. All right, there you go, 4 stages, and fingers crossed through the resources that I've had a chance just to talk through here, that this has been useful for you and just helps to give you a little bit of a sense of direction. Okay, that's me. I'm going to sign off. Okay, and I'm going to say thank you very much for listening, and I hope that you have good luck, and I hope that you are now excited about possibilities and what things you might be able to go and search about your gap year. Okay, take care now. Bye.